So I recently became a ham technician class, and like most people, I picked up a couple of Baofengs. I'll talk about that in a little bit later. But I kind of was thinking that I wanted to get a better radio. Um, and so I got a Yaesu vx-6r submersible. I also was thinking about getting the 60R, but I figured since I had a Beofeng, I would get a tri-band, so I get one extra band on here, blah, 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 easier way to spend money. This is the stock antenna that comes on the Yaesu. The antenna I have on here right now is a homemade antenna from a guy in Utah. There's a couple of videos on it. I think it's called signalstuff.com. It's pretty cool. It's the coolest looking antenna I've seen. Well, this is the stock antenna for the radio. And most of the stuff that I've seen on YouTube just kind of doesn't really explain much about it. So I'm gonna key up here real quick. That's my voltage I just charged this morning. I'm going to do like a quick little review of what I kind of figured in it. The manual is great. It explains everything. So right off the bat, you have a band channel right here. And what it does is it cycles through all the different bands that you can look at. You know, it kind of gives you your bands. And that's your band button right there. Oh, I guess no one's on that channel there. And compared to the Beofeng, it's at first I thought it was a little bit more challenging, but after kind of reading the menu and figuring everything out, it was pretty easy. So on the Yaesus and like other ones, you have self-adjusting frequency directions and whatnot. As you scroll through your channels here, eventually it'll get to a frequency that it thinks is a repeater or may be a repeater, and it'll put up a little plus or minus, and then if you try to kerchunk it or whatever, it'll automatically do the plus or negative for you. And so say you get to it and you go, hey, that's not a repeater, I want to just do simplex. Well, your F key is your menu key, and then you can hit repeater, and then it says repeater plus, simplex, repeater negative, repeater plus. So I'm just going to leave it at repeater plus because that's what it was at. You would press the push to talk, and that would essentially save that menu. Say you're like, say now that you have your repeater lined up and then you need to add the tone, you'd press your F key and then you'd hit mode or SP or squelch, and what that would do is that has off, tone squelch, which is a way to like search for it, DTTS, and your reverse tone. If for whatever reason you're trying to cancel out people and not try to hear people, you could put that. I believe that's what that's for. And off. So okay, you'd put tone, then you hit your F, and then 2 is code, and then it'll let you scroll through whatever you think your tone is. Oh, someone trying to send us a little ring-a-ling. And then you would press 2 again to select it. If you wanted to scan for a tone, you would then hold the band button down in the tone setting or code setting. Let's see. Code, then scan. Don't know why it's not doing it now, but that's essentially what it would be. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to go back over to your mode, tone. In order to search, you have to put that on. And as you can see, it'll have your tone and then a squelch, I believe that's what it's called. 2 to save, code. And now it will scan for signals coming through and see obviously something's coming through on a tone here, and it might just pick it up. All right, we'll will cancel that. Exit out of here with 2, and then I'm going to turn all of that just to off, and then it goes back to where it was. There's a lot of menu options on this Yaesu submersible. It has like almost 1,000 different channels. I haven't really programmed anything into the memory, which what you would do is you would hit this V/M button, that's VFO to memory, and it'll bring you to memory channels, and then as you try to scroll up, I don't have any memory channels, so it's not letting me do anything. But if you type in, it would go channel 2, then you might hit that, I believe, to go to it, or channel 3, that to go to it, or cancel 4, or 45, and so on. It'll add those channels. With the Yaesu, and we'll go back to VFO. With the Yaesu, if for whatever reason, say you want to save this, you have a quick save, which is a direct memory recording, which is that DMR button. And what that does is you can hold down, say 9, and if I hold it down long enough, it'll say save to DMR. If you go to your DMR channels, I have a couple of them saved, and now you have DMR. So 1 is a simplex signal that I use, 2 is a local repeater around where I am, this is another repeater local to me, this is a 1.25 meter band, that repeater that's near me. I have another, this is a GSM band, here's a GSM, and pretty much it will, I have that for my GSM walkie-talkies, or for anybody that's using the GSM. Here's another repeater, another repeater, another repeater, and then 9 is nothing, and then 0 is actually another radio that I use at work. I just use this one. Alright, and to go back, you would just cancel, you hold that down and it brings you back to your VFO mode. Or once you're in your VFO mode, and you see like the 6 or whatever channel you're in, then you can start punching in frequencies. It'll let you put in whatever frequency you want, and it'll actually move it to the correct band channel that you're supposed to be in. So say if I was in here, channel 1, which is, you know, this band, I don't have it off the top of my head, it actually lists what they are, and if I just go 1, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, it moves it to 6, which is this designated band's channel length. You have a lockout key right here, which is also an internet button. If you try to do anything with the internet when you plug it in the computer, hold it down. It'll lock your keys, locks your volume and your and your volume and your frequency adjusts, and I do believe you can still push to talk. And then so you can still lock a channel and then it doesn't break on you. Hold it again to get rid of it. Your memory your menu channels are F, and then you can hit O or 0 or set, and then it'll bring you through your 60-something different menus. It actually has an internal temperature if you wanted to know that. It also has a barometer adding thing, whatever. So this is kind of how you get all your different settings in here. Wake up, you can have it do a setup where I guess it'll wake up every few seconds to check if anything's going. This is your weather channel alert. I'm not really familiar with all these. I am a new technician, new radio. I'm still trying to get everything through it. There's not much that you even really do in this setting as far as basic operations, but this is how you kind of get to all your little different settings and whatnot. And then you would just cancel out of it with the push to talk. The F key has all these little quick different quick keys. So you do F, and all these have a quick select button for most of them. And if you wanted to, unlike a Beofeng where you would manually type in the weather or something like that, or the police band or any kind of the other bands that you'd want to monitor, you actually have a special bank, SP bank, and that's F bank, and now you have your marine channels, and then it'll let you scroll through 200 and something of them. See, not sure exactly what frequency that is, but as you can see, let's keep this antenna on for now when I do my comparison. And then you can actually do band which will now scan you through its special bank of bands. This is a international or a world one where it's got different frequencies, shortwave, I believe. And you may pick something up from any one of these: Portugal, Spain, Norway, something like that, if you're so lucky or if you care. Keep going, then you get to your weather channel. Not the best signal right here, laying outside. And then as you can scroll through, these are the different weather stations. This is my local one. That's why it's coming through. And then you would just press VFO to go back to regular operation. And so I guess the other question is it better than a Beofeng? I would say probably in the long run, yes, it is better than a Beofeng. But if you're looking to get a couple of radios, I have 3 Beofengs. I definitely will not have 3 of these Yaesus, at least as far as I'm concerned. It's a lot of money for what they are. What's nice is being able to set everything that you have going on in here. And that's kind of nice. I've learned it really quick. The Beofeng can get a little wonky when you're trying to save stuff in its memory. It's pretty easy. Very, very similar. I wouldn't say that one. I would say that a Beofeng is more menu driven than this Yaesu, but I would imagine any radio you're going to have to use menu settings in order to adjust settings. That's just a given. The only negative on this is you have to manually set your negatives and your positives of your frequency direction, and that's not even that big of a deal, to be honest. So let's see here. I believe I am on the same repeater, and the way I look at it is they both hit the repeaters. I'm not sure if I'll be able to hit it inside my house, but let's just see here. KM6FWV. Let's try a closer one. I have some more saved in here. All right, this is a local repeater here in my area. KM6FWV. All right, well, I can hit it from here. Obviously, this is a Nagoya little whip, 8-inch whip, and it's probably comparable or better than the stock antenna on this one. Let's see if I have. Yep, so I'm on the same repeater. It'll probably come through here. I'm going to low it. KM6FWV. KM6FWV. Well, where do you know? It looks like the Beofeng is going to hit the repeater. Let's see if I get rid of this antenna and I put on the whip one that I have here really quick. And spring it out with its kung fu action. This is a badass antenna. It looks super cool. KM6FWV. Well, it got the repeater. It didn't come through on that side, but KM6FWV testing. Well, there you go. I do think I can hit this repeater, which is a few miles away. It's in the next city over. It's about a 20-minute drive, 20 miles away. KM6FWV. KM6FWV testing. No, looks like I can't hit it inside my house. Also with this antenna, I did run it under the sink and got a little water on it, and I was super nervous, but I figured I have a warranty, so I would just replace it if that's the case. And it's fine. I did it this morning, and everything's fine, even with this aftermarket antenna, which or homemade antenna, which doesn't really have the best kind of flushness there. I did add an extra O-ring on top of that, just because then it kind of sits a little bit more flush. You'll see that there, you might be able to see it, but there is a little extra O-ring in there. This is all water sealed anyway, and so I have that on there, and it's been pretty good for my my radio so far. That's kind of the basic functions for this Yaesu. I haven't really seen anything other than people just trying to talk on it, but the main functions are, like I said, I mean, you have your menu, your program key, or your function key, I'm guessing F, and then you go through there with all your different settings and you scroll through your different areas. And of course, obviously, it saves it if you scroll through, and you can probably resave it. But if anybody has any other questions, feel free to message me. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. There's so many other things that you can do on this radio, which is great. If you have a couple of buddies that have them, then you can definitely really sync them up and get all the functions out of them. There might be a few more things that I'm missing here. Right now, you'll see save. That save flashing means battery save, so it's in a battery save mode. And that little number, that little clock underneath there is essentially a turn off. I have an automatic turn off. I think after 3 hours, I have it automatically turn off. I figure after 3 hours, if I forgot to turn it off, then that should be plenty of time. And I believe that's it. You have your monitor button here. You have some emergency functions here, like arts is an emergency function, and you also have this EAI function, and they're essentially only good if you have another person with a radio who is on standby watching, and vice versa. Overall, I like both radios, but I bought this Yaesu, and the Yaesu seems to work great. I don't know if it was necessarily worth the money, but I do know that I get a pretty good range, especially with this 18-inch whip. Obviously, I'm going to get better range and probably better range with this, but I mean, as you can see, I hit repeaters and whatnot with it. Here is up here, I forgot to say that this is, I guess, the Yaesu's proprietary plug. This is where you would put your external mic or an earpiece or whatnot, and you would have to buy a Yaesu one. Or the Yaesu has a plug that goes to 2, so you can use a Kenwood style connector. I actually just picked up a Yaesu earpiece, single earpiece, so that I can kind of use it hiking and whatnot and don't need to be bothered with having it out. It's also water sealed. The clip, I like the clip. I wish it was an old school little pager style clip. That way you get a little bit more retention on the bottom end of it. To me, I just like that clip a little bit better. This one's a little bit more of a solid clip, which does hook your pants well, but I wouldn't want to hang it off like a pocket or anything like that, or just loosely off a bag. It would probably fall off. You'd have to maybe clip this onto it clip something like this onto another piece just to be safe. Overall, the radio is awesome. It's metal. It feels really great. Its size is really great. It looks cool. The Beofengs look pretty sweet too. And this is a Beofeng BF F9V2 Plus, which is supposedly like the 8-watt radio or the 3 power radio. No mods to it other than just a little whip antenna. On this one is a modded Yaesu. At least I was told it was modded when I bought it. I flipped off the back battery and kind of looked at the back panel, and it looked like it is. Obviously, I don't have a meter to plug in to see if it'll actually transmit on the frequencies I'm not allowed to transmit, but I guess that's not that big of a deal at this point. At some point, I'll probably test it with a meter to see if there is any power going out on those bands that in case there is an emergency, because it's kind of pointless to have it modded so that you could talk to someone in an emergency, and if it actually doesn't do it, wouldn't be very good. Also, I was a little worried with having like a 2 meter and a 440 band antenna that I wouldn't be able to hit any 2.2 repeaters. This is a 2.2 repeater, which is located in See Me here, and I'll just clear chunk it real quick. And it hits it. I got a lot of them around here, a couple miles away, and yep, it doesn't want to hit that one out in too much roof here. All right, I'm gonna key off here, and if you have any questions, let me know. That's the Yaesu vx-6r, and then this is a Beofeng FB92. One thing I will say is that you get a stand-up charger with Beofengs, which is awesome. This one you just get a plug, a little DC plug, and then you would have to buy like a base charger. And I bought a little cheap knockoff base charger for $20, and we'll see how good it is. All right, thank you.